and welcome to Let's Talk Bahamas Immigration, a series dedicated to informing the general public locally and internationally on the how to of effectively accessing immigration services here in the Bahamas. So, before we go any further, like, share, and subscribe.
Can you explain the role of the Department of Immigration in the Bahamas?
The Department of Immigration's role is twofold: its supervision and its control. They supervise the flow of persons coming into the Bahamas and they control the flow coming in and those going out. So, what that effectively means is if you want to visit the Bahamas, the Department of Immigration will be your first part. Where you come in, those will be the persons at the airport who would stamp your passport, greet you, and give you what they call leave to land, simply permission to enter the country for whatever the purpose is. It could be working, it could be pleasure, it could be business meetings, you can be an investor, but that is effectively the role: supervision and control of persons wanting to enter, and then the control of them departing. What does that mean? If you were to be in breach of the immigration laws, then the deportation and enforcement arm will have no other choice than to see you out of the country.
What are some of the most common services Bahamians and residents seek from immigration?
Bahamians and residents. Well, Bahamian employers would seek to employ expats if there is a need for diversity within a company or even for some type of help. You would have to come to the Department of Immigration to apply for a worker to be employed with you, a foreign worker, that is. And in doing so, that's a process that involves other agencies like the Department of Labor, the National Insurance Board, and then you have private entities that is also a part of that process.
Why is understanding immigration important for both citizens and non citizens?
Because you want to act within the confines and the guidelines of that country's immigration laws, right? For non citizens, when you come to a country, it is not a free for all. There are laws that govern how you behave within that country. And the things that you can and cannot do may sometimes be enforced by the Department of Immigration. For instance, you may come to the country and want to go to school. You can be accepted into a university here in the Bahamas. However, the Department of Immigration has to give you permission to reside in the country. So we want to be able to follow the laws. Bahamians, there are laws on the books as it relates to enforcing immigration laws and penalties for Bahamians who encourage persons who break the law, if you or you yourself would break the law. Now, I know you would say, I'm a Bahamian. How can I break an immigration law? This is my country, I'm home, correct? No, I hire someone that is an expat and the work permit says to work within this field. The fact that I allow you to work outside of the scope of what I'm given the permission to do, it is in fact an infraction of the immigration law. Or I may say, I'm employing you and I sign for you, I submit all of my documentation, and the immigration department will find you working for someone else. I knowingly allow you to do that. So I would have been in breach of the immigration laws. And then we have the renegades in the country who are part of a bigger scheme, human trafficking and all of that. That's in breach of the immigration laws and other international laws that we find ourselves, or international treaties we find ourselves signatory to here in the Bahamas.
What is the Certified Immigration Professional Certification Program and why is it so important?
Ha! Getting down to the meat of the matter. So the Certified Bahamas Immigration Professional Program, CBIP, is as what we call it, was introduced in December of 2024 for persons who want to be consultants or practicing consultants, also for human resource department who would represent their companies in diversification, what that means is bringing in expats to fill roles that Bahamians can ordinarily fill. Um, so this program was born to teach how to effectively make an application with the Department of Immigration or represent your client in all aspects of the immigration process. The program came about in 2024, and then you had the legislation that came about July 1st, 2025, which simply stated that all persons representing anyone in immigration matters must be licensed to do so. And one of the clauses in the piece of legislation is you must be trained or certified or sit an immigration SAT exam. This program, I'm elated to announce that this program is the only program thus far in the Bahamas that is one, registered with the National Accreditation and Equivalency Council here in the Bahamas, and two, approved by the Department of Immigration. So if you want to be a certified immigration consultant, this is one of the paths that you would take. The program is 16 weeks long, and as you can see, it covers a whole lot.